Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new edition of Getting Color right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. And I am Virtue, being joined, as always, by Big Vito LaGrasso, former WCW hardcore champion, tag team champion. He might be a softball champion out there somewhere, too. What you name it. What's up, Vito?
Everything is going good. I was just coming back from the country club. I was just taping another show. I'm sorry to all the people for the delay, but we're just running a little behind. Miss Noel is still feeling under the weather, so just please deal with us. Stay with us for a little bit. We apologize, but I'm trying to take care of the wife, do the shows, get life going, and everything else is good. Virtue, tell me how the new dog is.
Well, so far so good. I was actually out of town this weekend, but I'm back now. So
really?
We boarded the two dogs, so I won't be picking them back up till tomorrow. So we had a weekend without the dogs already.
Wow, you guys are really making like this little family thing, and you're boarding dogs now. Wow, you've come a long way, bro.
Well, I've always boarded my golden retriever when I have to go out of town, so every now and again, it's okay. Wow. He likes it.
So where did you go with your lovely bride?
We went down to see one of her friends near Columbus.
Okay. You have a good time?
Yeah, we had some drinks, played some family game or board games and all that stuff, and
good.
Watching football.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you see Aaron Riff standing next to a scarecrow today?
I missed that one. I see a lot of his nature pictures with nobody there, right? We're supposed to just put our own story to it, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, but it is what it is. All right, Virtue. Now, what do you have in store for me? Because I know things have been happening in the wrestling world, and I don't know how you want to start it off, but go ahead.
Let's start with CM Punk first, because I see that he has mentioned that he wants to tell fans or critics, whoever, hey, give me time, let me paint my picture.
Right.
I feel like, because no matter, he had 7 years off, right? And he's on social media. He knows how it is, right? This goes back to when he blew up in WWE. You're going to have people that want to see you do a particular thing or whatever. Why is he acknowledging this? Why isn't he just painting that picture? Why is he letting the critics get in his head and he has to feel the need to say, just let me paint my... That's just so unlike Punk. Like, you would just think he would just steamroll ahead and do his thing and not, respond to critics. What's up with that?
Well, maybe he has learned from experience and learned how to handle the critics. So he's handling his own social media. So this way he doesn't have to deal with the raft of the people. Make sense?
Yeah.
So he's avoiding his own drama. As far as what he's angling for, as far as a feud or what he's going to get into, he beat Darby Allin. He's had some competitive matches. So I think he's just getting his feet wet back in the game. Okay. Now, it's good that he's starting at the bottom and working himself to the top. When does he strike? Now, does he have another competitive angle or work a program with somebody else? Who would you, Virtue, like to see CM Punk be with?
Well, if he's going to be this baby face right now,
right?
And I get it. Just coming back after 7 years, you want to pad the stats for a while with merchandise, even though fans will buy merchandise even if you're a heel, if they love you. Like, look at Roman. Roman's numbers are through the roof right now, and he's a heel. Right. Better than when he was a babyface for merch.
Right, of course.
Punk and MJF, just do it. The verbal sparring will make me even more invested to watch the pay-per-view match since they sell matches at pay-per-views. Like, WWE doesn't anymore. Because, Peacock's worth it just for all the movies they have on there. I was checking out all those movies this yesterday, and they're loaded. So WWE doesn't have to sell anything. AEW does. That's what I would want to see. MJF, CM Punk, and why not now? Why wait? Do it now.
Can I ask a question? I'm going to ask an educated question to all the people who are going on. Yes, MJF from Graffiti One, but
this is my personal choice. Yours might be different.
Now, what about CM Punk versus Sting, CM Punk versus Jericho, CM Punk versus some of the people in Jurassic Park, some people, CM Punk versus Christian Cage. There's other avenues to go.
Well, the Jericho stuff they won't do because they did that in WWE a lot, right? I mean, him and Jericho had a trilogy, actually more if you go back to before the pipe bomb. So I could say Kenny Omega and put him right in the title picture, but Punk's not going to be that guy. So that's why I chose MJF. Yes, there could be other guys like an MJF, like a homegrown you want to boost up.
But MJF is going to job to Punk. You know,
would that or would he? Right? I mean, what type of business? But what if, what if that's say they did that in the next 3 to 4 months,
right?
And Punk puts him over is the happy-go-lucky baby face that he's telling everybody to wait. That loss, and it will sets him off, and then Punk can do the heel turn. I'm reading between the lines. The reason why Punk's out there on Twitter telling everybody, be patient, let me do my thing, let me pay, because he's turning heel. And there's fans that are smart that know it, and he sees people tweeting it, and he's trying to say, no, because he wants it to be more of a shock when it happens. That's the blatant obvious thing. So why not beat MJ or have MJF beat you? But that could be your reason that you snapped. I mean, again, right? I get it. Punk's coming in. You maybe don't want to beat him for the first year. I get that point too.
But wouldn't you want to see him face Sting, which never has been done?
That and I forgot that you mentioned that one. That one would be fine with me because he would protect Sting, right?
Right, he would protect Sting.
Yep.
And the fact that Sting might possibly beat him, and before he beats him, that's where he turns heel.
That would be fine too. And I was thinking youth, but when you brought that up, out of all the veterans, that's because you haven't seen it. Sting, because remember, Punk wanted these big matches. He wanted him and Undertaker to go last at WrestleMania. Well, they got that match, but it didn't go last. Why not a big FU to WWE and have Punk and Sting close out an AEW pay-per-view?
I think that's the way to go. And the build up towards it, and finally letting Sting out of his handcuffs.
That's true.
Would be a major coup for AEW. Now, AEW has talented guys there who CM Punk can fight, but we're talking calculated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he has a good program with Sting and he beats Sting, he never faced Sting, Sting is Sting, no matter how you put it. What's to say CM Punk goes against Billy Gunn? There's another formidable guy.
And you remember how you had Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had, remember Hogan versus Sting was a shit fest at Starrcade. Could have been a lot better. So Punk maybe, hey, Sting, I'm going to give you that great match late in your career. We're going to do like a Rock and Hogan, but maybe better. You sold me on that.
Right. So you're talking a slow-paced match with Sting, a Billy Gunn match, because Billy Gunn never faced Sting either. So there's a possibility to have a great guy come in like Billy Gunn who will have a 5-star match and be awesome. And that's
he looks like it's 2000. It's 2021 and Billy Gunn looks like he did in 2000.
Right. So you're talking about he could possibly do some damage and have a great program, which it would be awesome. So that's 2 great programs off the bat that you could have, right?
Yep.
Having Billy Gunn with the Big Show does nothing for me. That new outfit, he does nothing. There's nothing with the Big Show.
Yeah.
Mark Henry, no disrespect to any of those guys, but there's just nobody for them to play with.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Mark Henry. I know he's just commentating because he's actually been critical of some AEW stuff.
But he should be.
I know. But the culture, I think Tony Khan, I look at Jericho and all these other people, and I never see anybody internally criticize AEW. And like Mark Henry is like the first one that's part of that team criticizing bad stuff when it happens. I like that. I hope they keep allowing him to do that.
But that's being a real
him.
pro and not being a fucking jock sniffer.
Exactly. But I hope Tony Khan doesn't fizzle him out or whatever and do a backstage role and get him off TV because he's not saying everything that Tony Khan wants to hear. Even though an owner should want to hear criticism because you want to get better.
I got to say this, and I am saying this with the utmost of respect to both companies. And when you have people who sit at home, who've been to every territory, who've done everything in wrestling, who can do the job backstage and has the presence to get the job done. And for ridiculous reasons, you don't bury the hatchet and say, okay, let's do business. Okay. Brock Lesnar, you sued the WWE. He's got a job. Jerry Lawler, he sued the WWE. He's got a job. Chris Nowinski sued the WWE. He's got a job. Jeff Jarrett sued the WWE. He's got a job.
And he held Vince hostage for some cash with the China match, and he went back.
But you're talking about people who have done things, have had the differences. Now, granted, I'm not saying I'm the Hulk Hogan of wrestling, but when it comes to being a coach, being wrestling 101, logic, training, practicing the practices of what made wrestling great 30 years ago, and you bring it into today, and you say, okay, Vito is this guy, and we're going to do things this way, and you're going to have this show, Vito, and we want this show to be this way. I would take it and make it the best show, whether anybody liked it or not. You either follow my regime or follow my way, or you don't want to work, no problem. Sit on the side. Hey, are you two guys available? You doing anything tonight? Hey, come here. I got a job for you. They'll be more than happy to do it.
So if you were ever to go back and work for WWE, would you be willing to kiss Vince McMahon's ass like he wants every employee of his to do?
It's not the point of kissing ass. It's the point of doing the job that you're hired to do and having the voice to say, Vince, this doesn't work, and this is the way you need to do it. It's not kissing ass.
Who was the last person to really do that? Russo? Has there been anybody in that company? Now, I know Brock has disagreed with Vince a lot before, threw the title at him and all that, and of course, Brock can get away with anything. But that's a worker. That's one of the boys. But in the office, I know Russo said he would challenge Vince a lot. Has there been anybody since?
Guys, it's kind of hard because I don't know.
I haven't heard of anybody.
But the one person I do know who always spoke his mind was Paul Heyman.
That's okay. That's a fair point.
All right, let's use Paul Heyman. Okay, creative, innovative, a motivator, ideas. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that he rubbed Vince the wrong way, and there was verbiage saying, "Why do you have to give? Why do you have to give Vince a hard time? Because this is the way I was brought up in the business, and this is the way the business is supposed to be." Okay, so Paul Heyman is not in that position, and even if you are the position of the head writer, you're still handcuffed because you can't go forth with what you write. It still gets chopped up. Okay. So you're looking at, using the guys that you have. Now, if you look at the guys on the booking team and agents that they have today, how many guys can you say have been on the WWF and WWE TV, been successful, and been at other places and been successful, and know how to be a champion, know how to be polished, know how to be a worker because you were trained by those before you. When I look at the roster of what the writers are backstage and the agents backstage, a lot of them haven't made it in the WWE and they got jobs.
Yeah.
So how are they supposed to teach the people how to be WWE superstars if they never were WWE superstars? Explain that.
They can't. I mean, it'll just keep like they'll all feel entitled, like nobody paved the way, and it's them to make a new generation, and that's really what's happened. That's the problem with wrestling the past decade, right?
Right.
Is I mean, no, there are some out there that are old school and respect that, right? Out of all the wrestlers, but there's a lot that aren't anymore, and that is being you can see that now, right? Where's the next WWE main eventer, right? We don't have one. Who's it going to be? That's one of my topics. Like Vito, these are some of these names, like based on how they're doing NXT 2.0 now,
Right.
and in the Vince McMahon vision, and you might have some names I don't say here. LA Knight. Now you know he was Eli Drake. Now he's older, but when I look at him, I think of a heel guy that can get to some big main events, not necessarily be a big draw, but he's in NXT. Karrion Kross, which they pushed him hard in NXT, and now Vince is trying to redo him on the main roster. Gable Steveson is already on the main roster, and we don't even know if this guy can work. He's straight out of the Olympics. Yes, he has a gold medal. Is Vince trying to get another lightning strikes twice? Kurt Angle? Kurt Angle was talented.
Total shoot wrestler. Go ahead.
And then Braun Breaker, Rick Steiner's son. And there's some others. But do you think who could be their next WrestleMania main eventer?
I'm going to say this, right? And
somebody I didn't mention.
Let's talk about the Italian guy, Angelo.
Yeah, in NXT.
NXT. He is not going to make it because he doesn't have the right guidance. He doesn't have anybody who's done the gimmick, lived the gimmick, or portrayed the gimmick, right? He's trying to do these things over what these guys think is a mafia tough guy, what it is.
They probably tell him to go watch you on YouTube. That's
Probably.
that's like a fan watching. All right, like you don't have you back there with him,
right?
Showing him. That's completely different.
Now, if I was to be hired and be the manager of this guy, and I was to say, Vito, like they did with many other wrestlers, Vito, we know what you're doing. Take them and do your thing. There wouldn't be a thing I wouldn't teach this guy. There wouldn't be a thing I wouldn't show this guy. I would teach him how to be a kick-ass Big Vito LaGrasso from Staten Island, New York, and he would be the next champion of NXT. Not only would he be NXT champion, but we would go on to the main roster and be able to be competitive and be a champion at the next level, then possibly starting a stable of wise guys with me being at the helm, because when I was given the ball to direct a stable, whether it was the Baldies, the Mamalukes, the NYC, the FBI with me and Nunzio, because I came in as a manager, right? And then when I went to the other place and I did the Slambinos, I was the spearhead guy who did everything. So when I said, guys, trust me, we will get over it, and we did. And all of a sudden they cut it because, the only reason the Baldies in ECW didn't go further, I left to go to WCW. After I left, they were a shitbag. Not saying
dude, you're stable in NXT/WWE. We're gonna put Enzo in it. We're gonna hire him back and fantasy booking, fantasy Vince McMahon, and put him with you guys too, because he's a star. Like, dude, gold, money, sell merch.
So you talk about putting the three of us, and what about throwing,
whoever you want?
I mean, no.
Yeah.
My thing is for me to show up on SmackDown grabbed Carmella and just said, "What the hell are you doing?"
There you go. Got a
Right?
female in the group.
She
Yep,
would
sex
she would
appeal.
look at me and go, "Yeah, but get your things, get your clothes, and we're leaving now."
Money.
Because if you're watching and in my TNA stuff, when I showed up in TNA, same concept. Got too big before we even got off the ground, and they fired Disco and they fired Johnny Swinger for no reason. And here we are getting over, and this is gonna be the greatest thing. Oh my God, what the fuck? And then they cut it. Right? The Mamalukes went, they gave us the ball, they gave me the ball, and I ran with it. And I became champion. And the vignettes are legendary. Nunzio and me, they should have put the titles on us. We were good. Imagine them putting the title on us in WWE. Give me a chance to run a stable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
dude,
didn't
you
know
don't have to
how.
convince me. I mean, that, like I said, dude, that gimmick was always great.
Yeah,
Italian gimmicks in wrestling, and dude, there's pieces out there where they could run with it. And the thing is, WWE always likes to do stuff that happened in the past. Well, then why the fuck not? You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly. Now you're talking about people here, Big Vito, the manager, Smile. Braun Breaker needs to do the Scott Steiner math promo. I don't think so, right? Forcing guys on the low rung, which is not kind of interesting. Okay, guys, there's a way to do things. If you use the guys who are the OGs who did it before, you bring them in and you let them run with it, right? You teach these guys, and we don't have guys, the OG teaching the new guys how to do this. And you know what? If I had a young crew of guys, right, it wouldn't just be, oh, well, we're going to do this. No, we're going to practice, and we're going to practice, and we're going to practice, and we're going to practice. And if you don't like it, we're going to practice some more because that's how I was taught.
Yeah, and you'd be one of those where if you heard the younger guys want to do something stupid that you know was gonna botch or not go over well, you would have said, "Oh no, we can't
Nope.
do that." Like, you know what I mean? You would be there to tell them that's not how we do it. We're gonna go out there and do this.
Do
You
people
know?
remember when Johnny the Bull came fresh out of the power plant? Kevin Sullivan said, Vito, you have Johnny the Bull and you have Tony Mamaluke. I said, I know. He says, you know what we need? I says, yes, I do. I never let Johnny the Bull do anything that was going to expose him. I said, Johnny, you're going to do very little. You're going to do what you do best. And that's what we did. As he got better, he got to do a little more. But when we started, Johnny do this, Johnny do that, give me the tag, give me the tag, give me the tag. What we did was good, never exposed him. As he got better, he got to do more, right?
Yeah.
And he looked good. Johnny the Bull was ahead of his time, but he didn't have the experience. I took the time to teach him, and that's what's missing in wrestling.
Now, before we get to our main event, Vito,
Go ahead.
tonight, which will be AEW centric, here's a little filler topic. Just want to get your quick thoughts. Women of Wrestling is returning. Wow. I want to say what the Genie Bus has something to do with it that owns, and they're trying to get this back off the ground. So AJ Lee, CM Punk's wife, and I don't think she's coming back and working, but she's going to be kind of behind the scenes. I'm not
Right.
quite sure of her injury status, but she's involved. And then, of course, I've been waiting for this. They're because Tessa was with them and was their champion before on their last run.
Right.
They're bringing her back, and I like this because everybody deserves a second chance. And I hope this thing makes her look great. So AEW and WWE have to have a bidding war for this woman. So, what's your quick thoughts on that before we get to our main event?
All right, guys. I've been pressed with this, and I got to say this, all right? There have been a lot of guys who've had a lot of things, stood up for a lot of things, and they've been, things taken away. And there's no other bigger guy who's said things than Hulk Hogan. Everybody was a fan. Everybody loved Hulk Hogan. And things were taken out of the privacy of his home. And it ruined and sandbagged his career something fierce, right?
Mhm.
Now, Hulk Hogan still hasn't come back to full wrestling god because of this. He's Hulk Hogan. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, nobody would be watching wrestling today. Ric Flair, another wrestling god, getting persecuted for something he did 20, 30 years ago on a plane ride from hell for some stupid show, The Dark Side of Wrestling.
Yep.
How many times can you persecute somebody for doing something stupid or something that was the norm or the culture, and then you bring it out and you do this? Tessa Blanchard is no Hulk Hogan. She is no Ric Flair. She was caught saying some derogatory thing. Now, I am not crapping on Tessa Blanchard. I'm just recapping what happened. Just
Yeah,
so
because
you
I
know
think
that.
for the record, like me, you like her. You want to see her back
Yeah.
and succeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Her take on racism, spitting on people, making people carry their bags. Not cool. Don't like it at all. I'm I'm a hood guy. I play ball in the hood. I love my brothers. Never nothing. I can go walk anywhere, walk in any park, play ball, walk home. Everything's cool. Wrestling. I never made nobody do any shitbag things, you know. You give the guys the business and you train them hard. But when you teach them, you also show them the good. Um, Tessa Blanchard was caught doing some other things like beating up girls, girls coming forward about her actions. Um,
And she has apologized, by the way,
she has
publicly.
apologized.
Yes.
No problem. Some of the other things she's done on social media, like taking, how can I say this? Doing number two for somebody's pleasure and doing
Oh.
some other stuff. That's not what you do as a pro wrestler. That's disgusting. You know, everybody can get on Sunny. I'll use Sunny, right?
Well, hell, Paige. Remember, I mean,
Okay.
a lot of people have had bad things get out.
Okay. Let's take Sunny. I like her. I never had nothing bad with her. You know, she's the icon of women's wrestling. She opened the door. She's great. Beautiful lady. Can't say nothing. Beautiful lady. Smart, intelligent brain, right? Did she have a bad luck, a string of bad luck? Yes. Did she have some things happen? Yes. Did she try to straighten her life out? Yes. Will people forgive her? I hope so. Will people accept her? They have accepted her back in wrestling to do her thing. Paige, another one who has done some things, and then she was caught in a sex tape. She was caught in some other stuff. But hey, everybody wants to see her back, right? Alberto Del Rios, who has been notorious,
Mhm.
he's talking, he's coming back to the WWE. You're like, wow, okay.
Well, that's him saying it.
Right.
So yeah, grain of salt.
But it's still out there, and a
Mhm.
possibility of him coming back because the WWE is desperate for stars, not too far fetched.
And he does have a pretty good Hispanic following. I mean,
Right. And that's
that's
what
why
they're
they
lacking.
pushed him back in the past. Yeah.
So, guys, does everybody deserve a second chance? Of course.
Yeah.
Does anybody deserve to be persecuted for something they did 30 years ago? You did your time. Now it's over with. Hopefully, people can move past things. Vito LaGrasso stood up for himself and something that he believed in with integrity and the good of the sport. I'm still out on the outside. I didn't kill nobody. I didn't go against nobody. I stood up for the rights and the integrity of the sport and for the boys.
Mhm.
But I don't get any bookings. I don't go any collector shows. I don't do any autograph signings. I don't do any of this stuff because of this. But at the end of the day, doesn't take away from the great wrestler that I was and what I can be today and what I can give to any wrestling company. Why? Because I stood up for myself and I stick up for myself as a man with integrity. That's nothing to be ashamed of because everybody should do that in life.
And you did actually give me one booking up here, so thank you for that. And we're trying to do it again at some point. So
But
we got slowed down by the pandemic.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Everybody says, yeah, and then when it comes time to it, nobody does it. And then when they say, well, hey, bro, I've been here, I've done that in the game. If you're gonna hold me accountable for what did I do in the business so bad, I stuck up for my rights, and everybody's afraid that Vince won't give you a free pass or backstage tickets, or you'll be like exonerated. But when you talk to the boys itself, they all shake my hand, get up off their seat. Vito, how are you? Anytime you need anything, give me a call. That's the boys. It's not the office. All right, Virtue. I think we close out that show.
Well, I want your thoughts here before we close out.
Oh boy, I know. That's why I said that was a good one. I know you got this big one.
So we'll leave it at this because we can always talk about what we didn't get to next week. But the new championship title that's going to start, I believe, at the first of the year when when Dynamite moves to TBS. It's going to be the TBS championship, similar to the TNT title, which is kind of like a television title for the men. This is going to be that similar belt, secondary title, if you will, for the women. I didn't know this TBS logo looked like this for so many years, but when you look at it, the way it's designed, it does look like it says HOS from a certain angle, which spells out hose. What's your thoughts on the look, the design, the belt in general being for the women, having a secondary title for them?
I think the idea of having a secondary title is awesome for AEW. Congratulations. Me putting it out on social media and from the backstage rumors, Tony Khan and AEW are upset with me because I made it a point to point it out to them. But, guys, the belt says hose. You're putting it on women. What are you not seeing here? Are you all not doing your job? Or are the people in charge not hip to what's cool in wrestling? It's a great idea. Tony Khan, you came up with a great idea to make a women's TV title. Awesome job.
Yeah, and you're putting this title over. Like, you're just not putting the way it looks.
The belt is boats and hose.
Yes.
I put it out. There are people who are agreeing with me all over the world, all over social media, and I got an inside scoop. AEW really does watch my stuff. Thank you. Take it for where it's worth. It's constructive criticism, Tony Khan. Change the fucking belt because it looks bad for women wrestling. And for all the women who are out there, I am sticking up for you and saying it for you. I respect your wrestling. I respect your efforts. I think you all in AEW, the ladies, are doing a fantastic job, but that belt disrespects everything you're working for. Change the belt.
And if you remember when the TNT title came out with Cody, it was really ugly early on. And then they brought a redesign of that out. Okay, so you can redesign a title and make up for the bad one before, right? You did it for the guys. Do it for the women. So, yeah, of course, they're going to get sensitive over criticism. But instead, Vito, Tony Khan should be using this to make his product better. Because think about it. You have your fans, right? So your fans will be happy with whatever you do. Everybody has critics. If you listen to your critics and at least think if you can change something to not disrupt your fan base, but maybe to appeal to them, now you're growing your fan base. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay. I just had to get that out there.
And I would like nothing more than to come out and to hand the new title to the new champion, right?
And your dress?
In the dress.
Yes. Boom. There you
go.
have it. That's it, Vito. Any last words? We
Nothing.
got through
Tony
it.
Khan, please take this with the utmost of respect and constructive criticism. It's not a knock on your company. It's not a knock on you. It's just a knock on what the representation of your belt is. And that's it.
Cool. So that was another great edition of Getting Color. And we'll, pick some of this conversation up again next week. But you can follow Vito on Twitter at the Big Vito Brand. You can follow me at NoDQ_virtue. But this has been Getting Color right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. You can also check out content on Patreon.com/BigVMafia. So thank you for watching and listening, and we will see you again next time.